Hey everyone, Jack here. Welcome back. Today we've got Elena joining us, and she's got a ton of experience with languages, right?
Yeah.
Helping people learn English.
Yeah, it's been great. I really enjoy it.
That's awesome. Well, we're going to talk about reading today, um, how it can really help you with English.
Definitely. It's super important.
I think some people think, just classes and homework are enough.
Right. Like if you do your exercises, maybe watch a few movies in English, you'll be fluent. Right.
Yeah.
But it's not that simple.
Yeah, there's more to it. Like, we see English everywhere these days.
All the time. So we really need to be able to read it to understand everything.
For sure, from the news to, like, emails, everything.
Absolutely. And, there's actually research showing that reading really does help, no matter how old you are or your background.
So it's not just about, like, learning new words.
No, it's bigger than that. You actually pick up grammar, too, just by seeing how sentences are put together.
So you're saying it's even better than, like, studying grammar rules.
It can be, yeah. There was this study with these young people who weren't doing so well in school, and they hated reading, but then they were given these really interesting books, and guess what?
Well, what happened?
Their reading and writing got way better. They even started to like school more.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Hmm.
Especially since they didn't even like reading before.
Right, it's pretty powerful. And there's another study, this one was with students in Fiji and Singapore learning English. The ones who read a lot did so much better than the ones who are like drilling grammar all the time.
Really? So reading actually makes a huge difference then. But what kind of reading are we talking about here? Like, should we be reading textbooks all day?
No, no, not textbooks. It's about reading for pleasure, things you enjoy, books, magazines, even just articles online.
So you mean reading just for fun, not for, like, studying?
Exactly. It's called extensive reading.
Yeah.
Basically, reading a lot and enjoying it.
Okay, I like that. So how do we choose what to read? I've heard some people say to pick things that are so easy they almost feel too easy.
Yeah, that's a good point. You don't want to get bogged down with something super difficult and end up frustrated. It should be pretty easy to follow.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Huh.
So how do we know if a book's easy enough then?
Well, there's this rule. It's called the 98% comprehension rule.
98%. What does that mean?
It means you should understand almost all of the words without having to use a dictionary. If you're looking up every other word, it's probably too hard.
Right, we want to enjoy reading, not spend the whole time with a dictionary.
Exactly. And a good resource for finding books at the right level are these things called graded readers. They're specifically made for English learners and come in different levels.
Graded readers. Okay, so I'll check those out. So let's say I find a good book and I'm enjoying it. Am I actually learning anything or am I just having fun?
You are definitely learning, but there are things you can do to get even more out of it. One really good technique is using highlighting and flashcards.
Highlighting and flashcards. Okay, tell me more about that.
So first, you just read and enjoy the book. When you come across a sentence with a word or phrase you don't know, just highlight it. Don't stop to look it up right then. Just highlight it and keep going.
Okay, so read, highlight, and then what?
Then, once you've finished a chapter or a few pages, go back and look up those words and phrases you highlighted. But make sure you look at the whole sentence, not just the single word.
So I can understand it in context.
Yeah, exactly. It'll help you get the full meaning. And then, once you've looked up the words, make flashcards. Write the English sentence on one side and the translation on the other.
Flashcards are great for vocab. But how do we remember all the new words? There can be so many.
Right, and that's where spaced repetition comes in. It's a system that helps you remember things for a long time.
Spaced repetition.
It just means you review your flashcards at different intervals. So, you might look at a new card tomorrow, then again in a few days, then a week later. Each time you review, it gets stronger in your memory.
Oh, okay, I see. So it's like we're not just reading, we're highlighting, making flashcards, using spaced repetition. It sounds like a lot.
It might sound like a lot, but it's really not that bad once you get into a rhythm. And it's super helpful. Remember, learning English is like learning any other skill. It takes practice.
Yeah, like learning an instrument or a sport or something.
Exactly. You have to put in the time and effort. And just like athletes who train hard, we need to practice English regularly, stay focused, and believe in ourselves. Don't give up.
So it's not just about the techniques, it's also about our mindset.
Absolutely. You got to have the right attitude, believe you can do it. One expert I really like said, think like a champion, act like a champion, train like a champion with English, and you will speak English powerfully and fluently.
Wow, I love that. It's really inspiring.
I think so too. It's about believing in yourself.
So we've talked about, the science behind it, the benefits of reading just for fun, and even some specific techniques. But let's get practical here. Where can people actually find good books to read in English?
That's a great question. And there are tons of places. But before we get into that, I'm curious for everyone listening, what stood out to you so far? What are your thoughts on the power of reading for learning English?
So we were talking about finding good books to read in English.
Yeah, it's important to find those books that are interesting but not too hard.
Right. We want to enjoy it, not get frustrated.
Ah.
Where are some good places to start looking?
Well, we mentioned graded readers earlier.
Yeah, the ones made for English learners.
Exactly. They have different levels, from beginner to advanced, so you can find one that fits you.
Makes sense. Anything else?
You can also try looking for books that have been adapted for English learners.
Adapted. What does that mean?
Basically, they're simplified versions of, like, classic books or famous stories. The story's the same, but the language is easier.
Oh, so we can still enjoy the story without getting stuck on the hard words.
Right. And don't forget about children's books.
Children's books. You mean like with pictures and stuff?
Yep. They use simple language, and the pictures can help you understand. They're great for learning new words and just getting comfy with reading in English.
I never thought about that, but it makes sense.
And they can be fun for adults, too.
I guess so. What about other things like magazines or newspapers?
Those are good, too. And things like comics, graphic novels, even blogs and online articles.
Wow, so many options.
The important thing is to choose what you're interested in. Like if you like sports, read about sports. If you like cooking, read about cooking.
So follow your interests.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to try different things. You might be surprised what you enjoy.
That's a good point. What about books we've already read in our own language?
Oh, that's a great idea. If you already know the story, it'll be much easier to understand it in English.
Kind of like watching a movie with subtitles.
Exactly. You can enjoy the story and learn English at the same time.
I like that. So we've got graded readers, adapted books, children's books, and even rereading old favorites. Any other tips for finding good books?
Yeah, one more. Don't be afraid to ask for recommendations.
Like from our teachers.
Yeah, teachers, friends, even a librarian, they can give you some good ideas.
It's always good to get different perspectives.
So yeah, remember, finding the right book is all about exploring. Don't be afraid to try new things. And most importantly, have fun.
Yeah, reading should be enjoyable. Speaking of enjoyable, let's talk about some of the amazing stories and characters we can discover through reading.
Oh yeah, reading opens up a whole new world.
It's like we can travel to different countries, meet new people, experience different cultures, all through books.
We can learn about history, science, even ourselves.
It's really amazing how much we can learn.
And for English learners, it's a great way to see how English is used in real life.
Yeah, like how people actually talk and write.
It's so different from just learning grammar rules. You see the natural flow of the language.
It's like listening to a conversation or watching a movie.
Exactly. You get to see how English is used in different situations, which helps you learn new words and phrases naturally.
Way more interesting than just memorizing lists of words.
Well, sure. When you're reading, you learn without even trying.
It's the best feeling, like discovering a new word and figuring out what it means from the context.
It's like a little puzzle.
Okay, so I'm curious. What are some of your favorite books? What's really captured your imagination?
Ah, that's a tough one. There are so many good books out there.
I know, right? Like picking a favorite child, almost.
But if I had to choose one, I'd probably say To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee.
Oh, a classic.
It's such a powerful story about justice, prejudice, and doing what's right. It's beautifully written, too, and it gives you this glimpse into life in a totally different time and place.
Yeah, I remember reading that in high school. It really makes you think.
Another one I always recommend is The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho.
I've heard of that one.
It's about following your dreams, and it's all about self-discovery.
It sounds inspiring.
It is. It reminds us that we all have our own unique path, and that the journey is just as important as the destination.
Okay, I'm adding that to my list.
I think you'll like it. It's a book that's touched people all over the world.
So, we've talked about the benefits, shared some recommendations, but before we wrap up, I want to touch on one more thing. Reading aloud.
Reading aloud.
Yeah, a lot of English learners just read silently in their heads.
Mm.
But there are benefits to reading aloud, too.
Yeah, it can help you with pronunciation and fluency.
Right. When we read aloud, we have to pay attention to how we're saying the words, the rhythm, the intonation.
It's like practice for speaking.
Exactly. And it can help us remember new words better, too, because we're actually saying them out loud.
It's a good way to mix things up and make it more fun.
So if you want to improve your speaking and learn new words better, try reading aloud.
You might even find you have a knack for storytelling.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay, so to sum up, reading's a fantastic way to improve your English. It helps with vocabulary, grammar, speaking.
And most importantly, it opens up this whole world of stories and knowledge to enjoy.
Now, before we go, I want to leave everyone with one final thought.
Okay, I'm listening.
Remember that learning English is a journey, not a race.
That's a good way to put it.
There are going to be challenges along the way,
Mhm.
but the key is to keep practicing and never give up.
And have fun with it.
Absolutely. Enjoy the process. So, for everyone listening, what are your thoughts? What tips or strategies have really resonated with you? So, we've been talking about all the great things reading can do for your English.
Yeah, it's a fantastic tool.
It helps with new words, understanding grammar, even becoming a better speaker.
And it's fun, which is important.
Definitely. But I know learning English can be tough sometimes. It takes, time and effort.
It does, yeah. But you can't let that get you down.
Right. Everyone learns at their own pace.
Exactly. No need to compare yourself to anyone else. Just focus on your own progress.
That's so true. It's easy to feel like we're not learning fast enough.
But even a little bit each day adds up. Like even reading for just 10 minutes can make a difference.
Yeah, 10 minutes here and there really does add up.
So keep reading, keep practicing, don't give up.
And make sure you're enjoying what you're reading.
Oh, definitely. If it's not fun, you're not going to stick with it.
So find those books, articles, whatever that you're interested in.
There's so much out there.
I know it can be overwhelming.
If you need help finding something, don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, ask your teacher, a friend, even a librarian.
They can help you find something perfect for you.
And remember, reading is just one piece of the puzzle.
Right. You got to practice other things too, like listening and speaking.
The more you practice all four skills,
Hmm.
reading, listening, speaking, and writing, the better you'll get.
And it's a journey, learning English. There will be ups and downs.
Some days you feel great, other days you get frustrated.
Totally normal. Just keep at it. Don't give up on yourself.
Yeah. Elena, this has been awesome. Thank you so much for coming on.
My pleasure, Jack. I had a great time.
I learned a lot. I hope everyone listening did too.
Me too.
And for everyone out there, thanks for joining us.
Keep reading, keep learning, and keep believing in yourselves.
Until next time, happy reading, everyone.